The gift box sat on the dining table, its silver ribbon catching the dim glow of the overhead light. It should have been a moment filled with sentiment, joy, nostalgia, maybe even relief, but instead an unfamiliar dread settled deep in my chest. Across from me, my wife leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, watching me with an expression I couldn't quite place. Amusement? No. Satisfaction. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I pulled at the ribbon, untying it slowly, as if delaying the inevitable might somehow change what was inside. The lid lifted, revealing a thick stack of neatly stacked papers. Legal, official, inescapable. Divorce papers. The air left my lungs in a sharp exhale as my fingers brushed over the crisp edges, the inked words slicing through a decade of laughter, whispered promises, and the slow decay of something we once called love. "It's done," she said flatly, her voice devoid of warmth. "I already signed." I looked up, searching her face for any trace of hesitation, any flicker of regret. There was none. Just a smirk, a quiet confidence as she waited for me to crack, to falter. But I didn't. Instead, I reached for the pen and signed my name at the bottom of the last page. Seeing it beside hers felt strange, like it no longer belonged there, perhaps it never had. Without a word, I pushed the documents back toward her, meeting her gaze as I spoke. "That's your gift back." For a fraction of a second, the smirk slipped. Barely noticeable, but I saw it. Then, as quickly as it had faded, she recovered, watching as I rose from my seat, grabbed my phone and walked away. 10 years. A decade of effort, of trying to hold together something that had been splintered long before we ever said, "I do." I wasn't perfect, but God knows I tried. Tried to keep our love from eroding, tried to be enough, tried to mend what had already crumbled. But love shouldn't feel like walking on broken glass, like measuring every word before speaking, like navigating a battlefield in your own home. Somewhere along the way she stopped seeing me as her partner. I became an accessory, a fixture in the life she meticulously built for herself. The distance grew. Conversations became obligatory, meals were eaten in silence, and the bed between us stretched like a chasm, too large even when we lay side by side. I saw the signs, the late-night texts, the sudden need for secrecy, the way she looked at me like I was a burden instead of a choice. And yet I stayed. Because I loved her. Because I was afraid of what came next. Because I hoped, desperately, that one day she'd look at me the way she used to. She never did. And now, with her signature on those papers, she had ensured that she never would. Stepping onto the balcony, I let the cold night air fill my lungs, grounding me. My phone felt heavy in my hand, my fingers hesitating before I finally pressed call. "Yeah." A deep voice answered. "It's done," I said, surprised at how steady I sounded, how foreign my own voice felt. Pause. Then, "You sure?" I turned my head, glancing back inside. She was sipping wine, scrolling through her phone as if nothing had happened, as if she hadn't just erased 10 years of marriage without a second thought. "I'm sure," I said. Another pause. Then quietly, "All right. We'll take care of the rest." I hung up and exhaled. It wasn't just over. It was mine again, my life, my choices, my future. And I wasn't looking back. Stepping inside, I closed the balcony door behind me. She still didn't look up. "Are you moving out tonight, or do you need a few days?" she asked, her focus still fixed on her screen as if my response was a mere formality. I let the silence stretch, let her grow comfortable in her assumption that she held all the power. Then finally I spoke. "You should pack instead." That got her attention. Her head snapped up, brows knitting together in confusion. "What?" I took a slow step forward, my voice measured. "This place, it's mine. Always has been. My name's on the deed. Yours isn't." The color drained from her face. Her fingers clenched around the edges of the divorce papers as if gripping them tighter might somehow change the truth written on them. "You're lying," she whispered. I shrugged. "Check the documents." She did. And as her eyes scanned the words, reality hit her like a blow. I saw it, the brief flicker of panic, the way her jaw tightened, the way her breath hitched. "You." I cut her off. "I let you stay because I loved you. Because I wanted this to work. But now..." I let out a slow, deliberate breath. "Now you're just a guest. And it's time for you to go." She opened her mouth, then closed it, searching for something, weakness, hesitation, a way to twist this in her favor. But there was nothing left to manipulate. "You can't just kick me out," she tried, her voice laced with desperation, masked by anger. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Funny. That's exactly what you tried to do to me." Her expression darkened as she scrambled for a response, reaching for outrage, for indignation, anything to turn the tide. I gave you everything, she spat, voice sharp, unsteady. I laughed, short and bitter. You gave me leftovers. Scraps. Whatever was left after you'd already given the best of yourself to someone else. Her eyes widened barely, but I caught it, the guilt she had tried so hard to bury. The truth I had known for months but never confronted. You knew, she whispered. I tilted my head slightly. You weren't exactly careful. A heavy silence settled between us, thick with unspoken truths. Then she scoffed, shaking her head. So this is revenge? No, I said simply. This is me finally putting myself first. I walked past her, grabbing my keys before pulling the front door open. Leave. She hesitated, her eyes scanning my face, searching for some last trace of submission, some crack in my resolve. But there was nothing left for her to find. With a sharp glare, she snatched up her purse and stormed out. I didn't watch her go. I didn't need to. The house was quiet now. Not empty, just quiet. For the first time in years I could breathe. I poured myself a drink, settled onto the couch and let it all sink in, the pain, the loss, the relief. I wasn't broken. I wasn't ruined. I was free. And for the first time in a long time I smiled.